Alright, hi. The instruction manual for your Varic automatic voltage regulators. The Varic instruction manual, Varic automatic voltage regulator 1571, 1581, 1582, and those are all A. Your general radio company, table of contents. Introduction, purpose, description, installation, mounting, single phase, three phase, change of current range, change of frequency range, remote sensing, remote programming, use external devices, external detector. Section 3, theory of operation, general voltage adjustment system control circuit. Section 4, service and maintenance, warranty, service adjustment, access to components, motor driven, variac, auto, transformer, troubleshooting, part list, and schematic. That goes over the specifications. This is what your 1581 looks like, 1582, 1571, introduction. Alright, the purpose of the Varic automatic line voltage regulator has a high-speed electromechanical voltage regulator that provides constant output voltage at predetermined level of the yield the accurate constant voltage supplying large loads independent of the load power factor without introducing harmonic distortion. Regulators are available in three basic models of the type 5081 commercial application, 1571 military application as basically with the 6 kilovolt ampere regulators and available 100 volt or 230 volt service. Further specification for the type of the 1582 for the nominal 9.8 kilovolt ampere regulator for commercial application is available with 115 through 30 and 460 volt use. All three basic models are available for operation line frequencies at 48 and 63 cycles a second or 400 cycles a second. Provisions made for the remote programming, remote sensing, and for external detector. 1-2 description. The type of the 1571A, 1581A, and 1582A. The automatic line voltage regulator comprises three components. See figure 1-2 with the motor driven the variac adjustable transformer voltage adjustment buck boost step down transformer to multiply with the power rating of the transformer with the control unit operating as a servo motor with the variac auto transformer. 122 controls. Control switch. The control toggle switch of the panel control with the servo amplifier with the switch into the automatic on position. Variac automatic transformer automatically adjusts to the maintain constant output voltage regardless of the load variation. Input voltage fluctuation. Switch of the manual off position powers is removed the servo amplifier permitting manual control of the output voltage rotation input voltage deviation dial on the front of the panel. Warning, the control switch does not remove the power from the regulator or from any load connected to the regulator. Alright, 1222 input voltage deviation dial. Input voltage deviation dial of the panel is calibrated from negative 10 to positive 10 in units thoroughly corresponding miles of the 10 plus or minus 10% correct range to percent of the voltage deviation input voltage from desired output voltage on miles with the 20 plus or minus 20% of the correct range of the dial indicated must be double the indicated deviation. Approximate calibration denotes available the correct range of the regulator. See figure 1-2 functional diagram. Three components of the regulator says unregulated input. The buck boost transformer, variac auto transformer, two-phase motor control unit, regulated output. Alright, section 2 installation. Mounting type 1571A with the regulator is designed relay rack installation 1581 and 1582 primarily permanent installation, but if they can be readily adapted portable use, they are available in 4 different mounting styles: rack, bench, wall, without cabinet, and regulators with operating satisfactory in any position. Figure 2-1 shows the installation relay rack mounts, panel, cabinet, and then to install the regulator with the relay rack, attach each mounting bracket with the A figure 2-1 over the rack with the two number 12 and 24 round head screws with the B and the inside holes of the bracket. Slide the instrument into the brackets as far as it will go. Insert the 4 panel screws were attached with the washer for the panel with the bracket thread into the rack. The washer protect with the face of the instrument. Toward the rear of each bracket, put a thumbnail screw D through the slide into the bracket and into the holes of the side of the cabinet. On the rear cabinet, remove the 2 round hole screws that hold the cabinet into the instrument. To remove the instrument from the rack, remove the only 4-panel screw receive with the washer for the draw of the instrument forward out of the rack. Remove the cabinet with the instrument remaining in the rack. Remove only with the 2 thumb screws D at the rear of the back of the pump. Pull the cabinet off the instrument of the rear of the rack. The bench mounts are shipped complete and the end of the frames attached in Figure 2.2. 4 corner handles are provided with the base of the wall mount for the mounting of the regulator. Move the floor screws with the corners panel with the slide with the instrument forward out of the cabinet. Fasten the cabinet screw with the wall or plate for the instrument. The uncased mouths are shown in Figure 1.1. As installation suitable for the disconnect switches include within Table 2.1, note that the input voltage is 10 or 20% less than desired output voltage. The input current will be 10 or 20% greater than the output current. Therefore, always use input fuses with a higher rating than the output fuses, and the voltage drops across the. It shows Figure 2.2, the bench mount complete with end frames. Table 2.1 fuse disconnect switch ratings. And then it goes output fuse due to the load current, undesirable use of the remote sensing feature for the Figure 2.6. Line cords type of electrical range can be used. Refer to the rating plane with the center and rear of the regulator. Alright, 2.2 single phase connections. 2.2.1 single phase 1 line ground. Note the chassis will be connected with the system over the ground. Desired 1 empty tapped hole with the regulator or 1 over the cabinet mounting screws can be utilized for the connection. Figure 2.3 shows the proper connections either with 115 or 230 volt single phase regulator with the one side of the line is grounded. The suitable fuse for the disconnected switch listed in Table 2.1 should be provided. Do not use the fuse of the ground side of the line if neither side of the line is grounded. Refer to Figure 2.2. 2.2 shows a single-phase balanced 3-wire ungrounded system regulating one side balanced single-frame phase line. Regulate one side with the 3-wire system connect with the regulator. Figure in 2.4. This connection regulated power available on one side of the line, neutral with the other side. Alright, so you have your unregulated line, round wire, white, disconnect switch, input fuse, regulator terminal board, output fuse, output regulated output. Alright, that was 2.3. Figure 2.4 shows circuit diagram, one side of the balanced 3-wire single phase. Unregulated balance, black, white, and red. Ground being the white. Input fuses, disconnect fuses, input fuses, regulator terminal board, and white and black, white, and red. Output fuse, unregulated, unregulated, unregulated. Unregulated, regulated, unregulated. Alright, Figure 2.5 shows a circuit diagram of 2 regulators for regulating both the side of the balanced 3-wire line. 3 balanced 3-wire line disconnect switch, input fuses, regulator terminal board, output fuse regulated, output regulated, regulated. Figure 2.6 shows circuit diagram regulation of line-to-line voltage 3-wire line. You have the balance of 3-wire line, red, ground, white, black. Disconnect switches, input fuses, red, white, black, red, black, red, white. Regulator terminal board output fuse, black, white, red, regulated output. Figure 2.7 shows the unregulated input with the output switch regulator, unregulated regulated output line, regulator disconnect switch, output fuse, input and output regulator unit terminal board, circuit diagram balance 3-wire line where the interruption power is not desirable. Figure 2.8 unregulated input 3-wire line, output regulator, unregulated balance between the regulator and output balance 3-wire switch, input fuse. Regulator disconnect switch, output fuses, input output regulator unit terminal board. Alright, your line neutral and the line-to-line power unregulated for proper side of the fuse the disconnect of the switch. Refer to Table 2.1. 2.2.2.2. Use the 2 regulator with the both side of the unbalanced line. Of a balanced line. Each line neutral output of this line with the line output can be regulated by either of the 2 regulators just shown in Figure 2.5. Each regulator maintains a constant output voltage, one line to neutral. This balance, thus a balanced output obtained retained unbalanced for the input voltage output of the power size of the fuses. Disconnect switch shown for Table 2.1. 2223 regulation line-to-line voltage only. The connection regulation of a line-to-line voltage only balanced 3-wire lines with either side of the ground is shown in Figure 2.6. Install suitable fuse disconnect switches noted in Table 2.1. Normally supplied regulator introduce full correction voltage on one side of the line. Figure 2.1.2. Balance between the line of the neutral voltage satisfactory in the most systems. However, the unregulated input fairly will balance. Better output balance can be obtained with a distributing correction half on each side of the line and accomplished with a rewiring of the buck booster transformer T4 as shown in Table 2.2. Alright, 2224, connecting regulator with interruption power with the routine maintenance is not desirable. In the application where the interruption of the power routine maintenance is not desirable, use the circuit figure 2.7 to 2.8 with the make possible the removal of the regulator without shutdown. These circuits over the output switch normally or regulated position with the regulator disconnect switches on. To remove the regulator with the circuit without interrupting the flow of the power is proceed as follows. C with the toggle switch of the regulator with the manual position. C with the motor is operative. Rotate input voltage dial with the regulator with a 0 to reduce the voltage across the output switch to 0. Set the output switch Figure 2.7 to 2.8 with the unregulated position with the transfer of the flow of the current with the regulator of the output switch. Turn the regulator disconnect switch off. This removes all voltage from the regulator. To return the regulator to serve the toggle switch of the regulator switches in the manual position. Rotate input voltage dial on the regulator unit until 0. Turn on the regulator disconnect switch. Figure 2.7 to 2.8. Set the output switch for the regulated position. Set the toggle switch for the regulator to the automatic position of the output is now regulated. Figure 2.2 shows internal connections for the buck boost transformer input-output terminals. Refer to Figure 2.2.2.3, schematic diagrams 4.4, 4.7, and 4.8. Alright, Figure 2.9 shows a circuit diagram of the 3 regulators, 4-wire Y connections. The unregulated with a Y connection, neutral, and then disconnects the input fuse and input fuses. Regulator unit terminal board with input-output for each different terminal board, and then the output fuses, and then neutral at the bottom, 1, 2, and 3. 3-phase connections. Connect 3-phase regulator with the regulator with the 3-phase voltage is general to regulate 3-phase voltage with the necessary to regulate with each of the independently of their sense of the unbalance of the non-effective of the phases equally, but in the case of the 3 separate regulators must be used. It's all practical to use the 2 regulators connect with an open delta regulated with a 3-wire delta line. 4-wire Y connection range. Figure 2.9 show the connection with the 3 regulators with the disconnect with the switch. The input and output view of the regulator voltage rating should equal the line to neutral voltage. Refer to Table 2.1 for the appropriate fuses of the disconnect switch ratings. 2.3.1.3 3-wire closed delta connection is the 3 regulators must be corrected with the shown Figure 2.10 with the regulate with the closed delta line. Note that the jumpers have been removed between the terminal for the number 2 and 3 input-output terminals, and the appropriate connections have been made between each of the terminal 3 regulated output line regulator voltage rating may be equal to line-to-line voltage output voltage adjustment as sufficient range to permit regulation voltage below the nominal rating of the regulator. For example, the 230-volt regulator can be used to regulate 208 voltage line. Operating will normally input voltage variation within specified correct range above and below the 208 volts. Figure 2.3.1.3, the 3-wire open delta connection. 2 regulators can be used with the open delta configuration. In this Figure 2.11, the use of the regulator 3-wire delta lines. The fuse switch is the same in the 4 single-phase operation selected regulators. Refer to Table 2.1. Figure 2.11, the circuit diagram. 2 regulators with the 3-wire open delta connections. Unregulated 3-line. The input-output regulated line, number 3, and input-output. 2.4, change for the correct range. The Table 2.2 shows the corrections for the buck booster transformer to various correction range. The speed of the correction current, accuracy of the effective of the current range. Refer to specifications. Nominal line voltage rating can be altered by a wire changing, except for the 115 230 volt models of the type 1582 regulator. Figure 2.10 shows the circuit diagram 3 regulator wire closed delta show the unregulated 3-wire delta disconnect input fuses regulated terminal board 1, 2, and 3 with input and outputs, output fuses and the regulator output 3 delta. Our figure 212 shows the rating of the operation of the 115 230 volt models, the output voltage over the input voltage. And figure 213 connects to the external voltage divider, referred to also figure 4.1, shows pin A, pin B, pin M, pin 2, pin 3, pin 8. Alright, change of frequency rating. The regulators normally are supplied by the operator override specified frequency rating with a nominal of 60 cycles to 40 cycles a second, operating with a nominal frequency with other than specified with a particular regulator requires change of the variac driver motor reference of the phase capacity of the regulators supplied for a nominal 60 cycle with the operator with a 57 cycle with a 63 cycle. Utilize over voltage connection varia automatic and transformer. The output range of 48 cycles to 63 cycles is required. Variadic auto transformer must be rewired, indicating with the appropriate schematic diagram. The tap charges should use the slight reduction with the total available correction range. No tap change is required for the proper operation at 400 cycle regulators over the entire speed of the frequency range. Alright, 2.6, your remote sensing. Utilize remote sensing feature for the cable that mounts a female plug with the SO501 rear of the control of the unit. Figure 4.1 must be disassembled on the Type 1571 regulators. Remove the jumper but both terminals E and F between terminals H and J of the SO501. Connect the remote sensing line to terminals FH and with the connection with the not be heavy as only with a 5 milliampere current will be drawn. On Type 1581, 1582, remove the jumper terminals 7 the number 10 and between the terminals 9 and 12. Connect the remote sensing line to the terminals 9 and 12. The proper phase of the relationship must be approved with the input voltage line with the specified with the arm of the variac automatic transformer. One end of the range of the power is supplied with the phase of the remote sensing line with the beat must be reversed. Alright, 2.7, the remote programming. The regulated output voltage can be varied with external variable resistors. Connect with the resistor pins A and B to the ground current unit. Connection plug SO501, figure 4.1. Type 1571 regulators between pins 2 and 3 with the ground on the types 1581, 1582 models. Ensure full range adjustment. See that the output voltage control is in the maximum counterclockwise position. Maximum linearity using external voltage divider connected with the control unit plug is shown figure 213 jumper between pins A and B and pins 2 and 3 depending on the models must be removed. 2A3 used with external detector. External detector use should provide with a well-fitted signal with approximately positive 9-volt switch with respect to the ground type. 1571 regulator remove the jumper between pins A and B SO501. See figure 4.1 and apply with the signal with the external detector pin B in 4 types 1581, 1582. Remove the jumper between the terminal number 2 and 3 and apply the signal with the pin number 3. Alright, Chapter 3, Section 3, Theory of Operation General. AC output of the regulators measured for the comparator with the reference voltage with the difference of voltage applied with the turbo emitter with the readjust with the variac automatic transformer later through step-down transformer adjusting with the voltage with the add to or subtract with the input providing with a constant output voltage. 3-2 voltage adjustment system by means of the buck booster circuit with a figure 1-2 with a large amount of the power with the control with the variac automatic transformer with a considerably smaller power rating. The auxiliary transformer and multiple windings should provide either plus or positive 10%, plus or minus 10%, 20% correct range at 115 to 230 volts, plus or minus 5% range, also possible with a 230 and 460 volt. The Durac track constant surface of special ball bearing variatic automatic transfer provides stable brushing track capable with attaining servo overloads. Ball bearings minimize the friction and thereby extending the life of the system banding continual motion. Alright, 3-3 control circuit with the regulated output voltage measured with the run and root mean squared detector. The figure 3.1 with the obtained with the DC voltage proportional with the AC output voltage of the root mean squared responds to the effective with the proper choice of the rectifier conduction angle with the rectifier full wave and so with the ripple with the frequency of the beyond with the bypass band of the regulator Ripper filter provided with a considerable rejection from the number 90 to 130 cycles a second with a small phase with a shift between 5 cycles a second. Filter voltage compared with the reference voltage for the precision temperature compensated zero-node diode, and the difference between these voltages will ultimately either readjust for the periodic automotive transformer. Any such difference error voltage fed through a synchronizing modulator low-level amplifier circuit with the amplifier error voltage non-synchronizing with the input line frequency, the further applied with the power of the amplifier applied with the current winding of the two-phase servo motor. Reference phase of the motor derived the power of the regulated outlet line through the capacitor to make the phase of the reference of the winding current at 90 degree out of phase of the control winding current. Figure 3.1 is the elementary diagram of the regulators that shows the unregulated input, the bulk boost transformer, your variadic auto transformer, two-phase regulated output detector filter, DC reference, and chopper amplifier, two-phase motor, variadic output transformer, bulk booster, unregulated input. Alright, section 4, service and maintenance. Warranty. We warrant each of the new instrument manufacturers sold by the free with a defect for the material workmanship of the property used to perform full in accordance with applicable specification for a period of 2 years for the original shipment of the instrument for the component with the found within the 2 years by our factory. Sales engineering office for the authorized personnel will be repaired and at our option replaced without charge except for the tubes and batteries that have given the normal service. Alright, 4.2, serve for the 2 year of the warranty, stay above the test for the quality of the material, of the workmanship of the product, with the difficulty, or the serve for the engineer with the assist with any way of the possible. The difficulty cannot be eliminated due to the following serve for the instrument. Please drive with the phone with the serve for the department, see the rear cover, the given and fill information with the trouble, the step for the taken remedy of it. Be sure to mention for the serial type of the numbers of the instrument before returning the instrument for the general radio. Service for the price right with the service department for the nearest sales engineering office the request of the return material tag. Leave the tag with the mill. Ensure for the proper handling and identification of the instrument with not covered with the warranty phase. Purchase order should be forwarded to avoid unnecessary delay. 4.3 adjustments. Output voltage adjustment means with the output voltage control of the parameter of the resistor 104 with the edge of the board with the output with the voltage that can be adjusted with the percent higher with the design normal 115, 234, 60 volt to which for the reset of the back set by the factory for the control is with a screwdriver adjustment available through the hole in the front of the panel. Accurate voltmeter with the preferably in the dynamometer type set with the output voltage of the control, but should be not required with the readjustment unless the components of the reference for the detector circuit is changed. Allowable, the input voltage range is always within either 10 to 20% of the output voltage setting. 232 gain control. Gain control resistor 132 with the edge board and also screwdriver adjustment with available through the hole with the front panel with the control with the turn clockwise gain. The increase with the regulator activity improve with the regulator become less stable. If the gain control is set too far clockwise, the motor speed will jump back and forth, overshoot with it several times after each of the correction. A full range of the motor also oscillates continuously with the range control is set with the factory to give just a trace of the overshoot. If and this is objectionable, to reduce the gain slightly with a greater accuracy with the need with more overshooting can be tolerated. Increase the gain is necessary. Alright, 4333 the filter. The RC filter with the broad notch for the U with the reject with the ripple component with the detector output voltage with the factory. Turn to means the 54 cycle input line with the adjustment should not be disrupted unless the absolute necessary with the type 1571A regulators if the turning it is fixed. No further adjustment is possible. The type 1581 and 1582A models notching frequency can be shifted with slightly with the readjustment of the resistor 105 at the edge from the circuit breaker figure 4.5. Proper tuning indicated with the maximum input output with a 0 to 50 watt meter with no load connection with the regulator output. Proper tuning is also indicated with the maximum steady state with the voltage between the anchor terminal number 10 and 11 on the terminal plate with the varic automatic transformer figure 4.1. Alright, 4.1 shows the rear view of the regulator with the dust cover of the removed end of the edge board swung out of the axis of the components. From top, from resistor gain control, resistor 132 for the output voltage 104, buck boost transformer, varic automatic transformer, terminal plate, input terminals, output terminals, SO501, control unit, edge board, and control unit dust cover. Alright, 4-4, access to components. All wiring easily accessed with the bench surfacing with the top of the assembly to be removed with the front of the panel, with the remove of the dust cover with the control unit. Figure 4-1, remove the two screws with the top of the tooth from the side of the unit with the remove of the two screws. Top of the edge circuit board with the allow for the board to swing down and cap, exposing all components and with the wire with the control unit. Remove the 4-1.25-inch bolts with the front panel. Also remove all of the control unit with the regulators necessary. Alright, 4-5, the motor drain variadic auto transformer, the 451 main, with the cleaning with the Durac, trend contacts over the variadic automatic transformer, periodic with a soft glove, and the safe to open the touch with alcohol, white with the non-lead with the gasoline, caution that you with the abrasion with the design, destroy, stabilize contact servers. Inspect brush assembly, periodic note any of the uneven brush awareness, evidence of the arcing and pitting with the brush, back surface with the excessive load current with the acceleration of the brush, deterioration, damage with the windings, rapid brush failure is sure sign of the overload. Two brushes with the U with the automatic transformer, one over the outer circumference of the brush track, one over the inner take-off collar. The numbers of the replacement brush of each of the model are given in table 4-1. Under normal condition, the inner brush for the non-subject for the install with the needs replacement and placing. However, if the brush must be replaced with the sheath of the care of the taken with a holding screw with the brush holder and must be bind restricted action with the brush spring. Remove the outer brush, remove the two screws with the brush assembly. Note that the brush pigtail is unsecured with the radiator one of these screws. Alright, newly installed with the reinstall of the brushes must be correctly sealed in proper operation. Power off with the fuse spring with the brush up the brave side with the piece with the croscus cloth with the resisting with the brush track with the effect of the mating of the brush and track. Caution: do not leave the nuts secure with the that secure with the motor to the back of the blade of the variadic automatic transformer, as they may result with a misalignment and possible degradation regulator performance. Alright, 452. All bearing gears of the factory are lubricated with the approved oils and grease. The re-lubricating would normally be required with the proper lubrication requires disassemble the variadic transformer, servo gear motor, and subsequent precise realignment of the motor variac shaft. The re-lubricating is desired to lubricate the gear shaft bearings of the Emiline 2958 Shell Oil Company. All other bearings gears should be lubricated with the Shell 7A equivalent compatible lubricants can be used. If in doubt, any lubricating compatible, contact with the General Radio Company. Table 4-1 shows replacement brushes for the variadic transformer 1571, 1581, 1582. Your regulator output voltage 115, 230, and 460. Brush types, numbers, inner and outer. Alright, troubleshooting. 461, detailed troubleshooting data. No matter the torque, variadic auto and transformer do not respond, but they can be turned freely with the meaning of the dial. Be sure the current, you sure your switch is an automatic control switch. Control unit fuses may be blown, with the gain control may be set at a minimum. Rotate with the control clockwise to increase the gain. Be sure the input voltage of the regulator terminal board is correct. Be sure control of the unit and cable is plugged in with the control unit. Coupling between the motor and variadic auto transformer may be loose. Have the measure of the primary voltage transformers TO101, TO102. The voltage should vary over the regulator with the correction range as the variadic automatic transformer dial is rotated. 8. Measure the motor voltage of the variadic automatic transformer terminal. Place U figure 4-1. Voltage between the terminals number 8 and 9, and it should be 105 volts AC. The voltage between terminals 10 and 11, it should be approximately 22 volts AC. With the overload must, as the dial range should be given the minimum as intermediate dial setting. 9. In the voltage correction chain for the opening of the motor winding, do this with the cable of the control unit, the SO501. Remove the cable wire over the anchor terminal number 8 with the variadic terminal plate with the numbers for a 60 cycle model DC resistant between the terminals 8 and 9 with 400 ohms. The terminals 10 and 11 should be at 11 ohms. For a 400 cycle model for the DC resistor between terminals 8 and 9 should be 25 ohms. Between terminals 10 and 11, they should be 2.3 ohms. Perform the test listed in the table 4-2. B. The variadic automatic transformer is at the limit of the travel against the stop. It does not move with the full motor torque. Prevents motor rotation over the dial. Be sure for the input voltage regulator terminal board within the range of the volt regulator. Check for the adjustment of the output voltage control. Be sure for the variadic auto transformer brushes the continuous contact with the track. Set switch manual control to check with the motors with the gear trailing with the dial should now rotate freely by hand. Form test listed in table 4-2. C. Poor accuracy, variadic auto transformer, sluggish irregularity, either or both directions. Turn gain control clockwise, increase the gain, change arcing of the variadic brush, refer to figure 451. Turn switch, manual control to rotate dial to be sure of the motor and variadic auto transformer is not binding. And 5. Perform the test listed in Fable 4.2. 8. Motor oscillates or hunts. Turn the gain control counterclockwise, refit the aim, improve its stability, make sure periodic brushes are continuous contact with the track. Alright, 462 show the voltage waveform measurements. Voltage waveform data are given in table 4.2 with a 220,000 ohm voltage DC voltage oscillation indicated with the measure voltage side with the regulated output voltage nominal value except as noted. Alright, so table 2 shows 4.2 testing, and then show the test number, the range measure for the nominal indicating different waveforms. It shows the edge port type 1571A regulator. Part list. Another edge port 1581A 1582. Part list. Schematic control unit 1571A regulator. 1571A regulator. 1581A regulator. 1581A and 5082A regulator. 1582A regulator. And that was a reading of the automatic voltage regulator. Hopefully this doesn't my other one that had the music was in the background, so YouTube kicked it out.